Why has it been the dog days of the season recently? Who are the biggest fantasy sleepers this year? How excited should we be for the Nuggets? The only question left is, say it with me, you win? Hey sports fans, Coach Nick here, and welcome to the D-Ball Breakdown Podcast. As always, I'm joined by Dave Dufour. We've been struggling mightily to just to get it done, to get something on film. What are we calling this? On digital, whatever we're calling this.
To put something on wax. We've been just struggling through the dog. This is the dog days of summer for the NBA folks right now. I know it's September and nearly fall, but yeah, this is the dog days.
And I've never had problems in this time of the year. It feels like I'm usually pretty busy. I'm doing some retro breakdowns or whatever, and it's just like I'm staring at my screen with a dead brain. I don't know. It's troubling.
I wonder if that has anything to do with how crazy this summer was. I mean, if you think back to just when the finals ended, right? It's just been nonstop ever since, up until basically the Kyrie trade, and even that. Look at how long that took to finish. We waited on the prognosis on Isaiah's hip, and they had to throw in the extra second rounder, and there was all this drama around it. And now it just feels like, oh, nothing's happening. Oh, I guess it's team preview time, or like I'm doing, it's division preview time. And while my guests have been great, I'm not. I gotta admit, I'm not 100% in on it.
Right. Well. Hey, listen, that's not much of a shout out for your podcast, which I will give you right now, because you are doing the previews. I just felt like everyone's doing them, and nothing I could add seemed to elevate the discussion any more than what's already going on out there on yours and everywhere else's. So everyone check out Dave's podcast for the team previews, because they're very
good.
Yeah, they
are good. And I think the only one that's out right now is the Atlantic Division with Jared Weiss. And I mean, it was good. We talked about a lot of stuff, and it was fun. But at the same time, again, it's one of those things where even though my heart's not in it, I'm still showing up.
Right.
I would much rather be talking about actual basketball. So I'm really excited. We got a month to go.
Yeah, I was nice that Jared could take some time out of his busy day. I think he's is he laundering money for the Colombians?
Yeah, he's doing something like that. I mean, I'm not sure. He
strange.
was actually on location in Springfield, Massachusetts when we were talking. So
okay,
yeah,
well, that's good.
I don't know what he was doing.
All right. Well, anyhow, and just speaking of which, coming up on our website this year, we're going to spotlight a couple of teams, and for a very low fee of a couple dollars a month, you can get a lot of exclusive written articles on the teams that we're going to do. We're going to pick 3 or 4 and do it that way. So stay tuned for that, because I think it'll be a great way to get something delivered right to your inbox. Really fantastic writing that's only you can read if you're part of our exclusive club, and it'll be worth your while. Plus, we'll probably do a podcast or 2 in there.
And the other thing is, it is a very low fee. You and I, we've talked about it a little bit, and in this sort of economic climate where we're watching people that we love to read getting laid off, people that we love on TV getting laid off, this is a great way to show your support for the content that you consume. It's dirt cheap, and it's even easier than doing a Patreon or something like that.
Absolutely, yeah. And that'll help us and it'll help our website, because everyone, I think, loves the writing there. And it's just a question of how can we continue to make this work, because, banner ads are so 2001, and we're on the new.
Wait, you're not running a GeoCities website anymore?
Oh no, my CompuServe account ran out, unfortunately. So okay, let's get into it, because we're going to do a really fun thing today. We're going to do some fantasy sleepers. These are the players that we feel are going to get legitimate shots on the court with extra minutes this year, and will produce more than you would have expected them to do. And I love doing this kind of stuff, because all the fantasy DFS people are going to get in there, or even if you're doing legacy fantasy. Is that what it's called, legacy? No, what's the season-long fantasy they call it now? Whatever they call it. If you're doing that kind of thing too, then you're going to really be able to get some value here. So why not? We're going to kick it off with, I'll do my first pick. So Dave and I we put our heads together, and we all have our own picks that we're going to bring to the table. So I'm going to start off today with the first one, which is Rodney Hood, Mama of the Utah Jazz. And I think right off the bat, you got to realize that Gordon Hayward is gone. Someone's getting those minutes. Someone's getting those shots. I think it's going to be Rodney Hood.
I agree with you. I mean, I've said on this podcast, and this might have been a bit of an over-exaggeration of my point, but I said he's got a shot at 25 points a game. I think realistically, 20 points a game is in the picture. I think he will get the ball a lot in his hands. He's one of the few wings. I think he might be the only wing they have that can create his own shot and score. He shoots well from three. I think that his off the dribble game has probably improved quite a bit since the beginning of last season. And again, he's going to get more of a shot in that Gordon Hayward sort of role. I think, he's going to be overlooked quite a bit by a lot of people, especially in the West, because the West is so stacked with talent. And I think he's almost a forgotten man because of Hayward. And I think this year he's really going to stand out. So I totally agree with you on Rodney Hood.
Yeah, I'm looking really forward to it. I think that, he's a very solid three-point shooter quietly. Like, I don't know if everyone really notices that, but he shot 37.1% last year on pretty high volume. And I would imagine that's going to go up at least a little bit to 6 threes a game, and, that will give him a boost in the scoring department. The one place where he struggles a little bit to contribute, I think, is rebounds for his size. I feel like he should be getting in that, like, 5.5 rebounds per game, and he hasn't been there his career yet. So that's one thing to look at, but there's no question that he's going to be a guy I think that's going to lead them and is going to have to lead them if they have any hope of maintaining where they left off last year, short of going down in the standings.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. I think we're going to see plenty of him running the pick and roll with Rudy Gobert, so he's going to get a shot for some assists there. And, I'm actually looking forward to seeing how Donovan Mitchell plays off ball when Rodney Hood has the ball, with another guy out there that can actually shoot it, nice slasher and things like that. I think Hood's going to have a huge season.
I agree. I think he'll follow that trajectory that we saw Harrison Barnes follow, where he made the jump to about 20 points a game last year. It's not easy to get beyond that, like when you're not used to doing that guy, and all of a sudden. So I would think it's rare for him to jump any more than 20 points. But we'll see. He's certainly not a newbie. He's been out there for 3 seasons so far. So I'm looking really forward to it. The Rodney Hood Mama meme is going to be breaking out all the time when I'm watching the Jazz games. I hope so. We will see how that works. So that is my first pick for the fantasy sleeper. Dave, who do you have for number 2?
So, now that I've thought about this a little bit, it might not even be a sleeper, but I think this guy is going to have a huge season. I think D'Angelo Russell is going to be pretty damn good in Brooklyn. First of all, he's going to have a coaching staff that is well suited to maximize his skills. He's going to have the ball in his hands a lot. He's going to have a green light. We know that he's going to shoot a lot, and he's going to shoot a lot of threes. So should see an uptick in his efficiency. And he's been good already in his career. There's this thing where I think because of some of the off-the-court stuff with him, the Snapchatting, the thing with Nick Young, like he's been a little bit maligned. But his on-the-court stuff is pretty good. I mean, yes, his defense isn't great, but we're talking fantasy here. Offense is really all that matters, and unless you're a center. And so, I think D'Angelo Russell is going to be great. I see him in that 20 points per game range because of use. His usage is going to be pretty high. He's going to get a lot of opportunities off the ball as well with Jeremy Lin and Karis LeVert out there. So, am I nuts on this one, or do you see it?
No, I really love it because, I think the whole Nets team, we talked about this before as far as the over-under. I'm sorry, I talked about it with James, was, what their over-under could be for wins. And I think that they're going to make a pretty big jump. I was watching Mozgov today in the Eurobasket, and I don't know what happened to the dude. He's not the same player he was in the finals with Cleveland. And I had thought, maybe he could get back to that form. And I just don't see it anymore. I don't know why. But at the very least, when you have Jeremy Lin, D'Angelo Russell, and then Alan Crabb, and then also you're going to have Damari Carroll, like they should make a jump, and the play itself should all improve. And the question now is, Russell was a bit of a immature player, I think we call him. On the court, too, he would sort of make rash decisions and just sort of like, didn't sort of value the possession as much as he could have. So if he's going to make that jump, which I suspect he would because he's now coming into that thing where he's going to look – he also looked too young to me. I had that rule. You got to look like you're 21 before I take you seriously. And, That's like guys like Austin Rivers is maybe about 20.5 now. He looks about, maybe he can grow something on his face. But D'Angelo was a little bit in that realm too. And I suspect when he comes back, we'll have to take a look at his face and see if he's looking old enough for me. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it at the very least. I don't think it's a crazy pick at all. And I think, so what do you think the numbers are going to be for him?
I would say right in that 19, 20 points per game. I'd bet 5 assists and maybe 4 or 5 rebounds. I really think he's going to have a good season. I think people are going to say, wow, the Lakers really screwed the pooch by booting D'Angelo Russell.
I tell you, if he gets 19, 5, and 5, that'll be a really great year for him, I think. And if they win, 30 games, they're on their way. That would be exciting for.
Well, the opportunity is going to be there. That's the big thing for him. Yes. I think the talent is there. It's the opportunity, right?
Yes. Well, speaking of opportunity, I was also again watching a whole bunch of Latvia's games, and I'm identifying one of your pet favorites and mine as well is Davis Bertans, who plays for the Spurs and was competing right now out there for Latvia and looks really, really good. He's a sneaky good athlete, beautiful shot. He hops into a lot of his shots. It's just beautiful. I really think that he's going to get a lot of extra minutes, and that's going to translate into just some good fantasy numbers.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I love Davis Bertans. I mean, I might be, maybe I'm his biggest fan in the NBA. I really thought that he should have gotten a lot more minutes. Now, the Rudy Gay signing will keep him out of the starting lineup for the most part, as long as Rudy's healthy. But I think he'll probably get 15 starts, right? Just because Pop does that. Right. I think he might get like 15 starts next to Aldridge or next to Powell. And his game just opens up so much for the Spurs that I think he's going to force himself on the court. He's a good pick and pop partner for Kawhi or for Patty Mills. He really spreads the floor. And like you said, he's a good athlete. Not even sneaky good. He's a good athlete.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys ever on League Pass ever watch the warm-ups or on ESPN. If you ever get a chance to watch the warm-ups, you watch him in the warm-up lines. And some of the dunks that he's pulling out, I mean, the guy's like 6'10", and it's pretty impressive. So, I'm a huge fan of Bertans. I really think as far as, now whether his bulk production is high, I don't know. But as far as a guy like to fill out your bench later rounds, something like that, I think that's a good guy to go get. He's definitely going to help your 3-point percentages and 3-point makes.
Yeah, I mean, looking at his per 36, he shot 40% from 3, and his per 36 attempts would be 7.7. I mean, when he's out there, he is getting threes off. And he's hitting them. So that, I mean, obviously it's his primary mode of attack, but no, there's no question with a little bit more, a few more minutes and then a little bit more comfortable, feeling more comfortable out there, I think he'll get some more shot fakes and drives and he can finish. So yeah, I mean, we should see him get to, I don't know, I would think he'd get to 14, 15 points a game, nail several threes a game. I would think he'd get a few more boards, but he's not the biggest rebounder of them all, but somewhere in there. So I think he's going to be very valuable for them as well.
Yeah, I mean, I expect his minutes to go up quite a bit. He could be the nominal sixth man this year for that team because Patty Mills is going to start the year as the starter. Manu is, now 40, a little bit older. And when you look at that bench, it's like, there's no more Jonathan Simmons. There's no more Dedmon. So he may nominally be the guy who's coming in and getting a lot of those backup 4, some spot backup 3, maybe even some backup 5 minutes. So, I mean, 18 to 20 minutes a game to me is nothing crazy. And with as many shots as he's going to take, yeah, he's definitely got some high output possibility.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait. And by the way, he's a second-year player, but he's 24 right now. So he is a seasoned veteran who's played in a lot of Euro games as well. So he's ready.
But does he pass the grown man face test? That's what I want to know. Because now I'm very curious about this. Because he's kind of got a baby face.
Yeah, I know. He passes it for me. He passes the 21-year-old look, I think, for me. I'd sell him beer if I was running a liquor store. So, and speaking of running liquor stores, fantasy football is back. And we're talking all about fantasy. We might as well get into a little fantasy football because guess what? FanDuel is knee-deep in their season. We just started with the NFL. I don't want to hurt you too much, Dave. I'm sorry for making you laugh too hard. But
it was the greatest transition in history. That was the best. Yes, football season is back.
Yes. And there are new contests starting every week no busted seasons. And there's something for everyone, lots of contests to choose from. So, playing fantasy football, I got to tell you, it does make it more exciting. You're paying a little bit more attention to those games, even if they're out of the scores out of whack. You can still, earn some points there and win some money. So, FanDuel is doing it, and you can use my code CoachNick. But you can also go to FanDuel.com/CoachNick and make it even easier on you to sign up, and you get a free contest. By going and using that code or using my link. So head over to FanDuel.com/CoachNick, and I will permit you to watch some NFL games. I will put my moral opposition aside for a few weeks, and say please go over there and play. Listen, if you're going to watch it, you might as well win some money, right?
That's right. That's how I feel about everything.
What a country.
That's right. Yeah.
America.
Right there with you. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. All right, so that's what we're talking about. So head over to FanDuel. Don't forget, and Coach Nick is the code, and to play and win, and then let me know if you won, and then we can charge you something appropriately for our share. Now, let's get back to basketball fantasy, or fantasy basketball, if you will.
Fantasy basketball.
Yes.
Basketball fantasies is sort of like, people thinking that Ricky Rubio is magically going to be able to shoot threes this year. That's it.
Right. Oh, yeah. I thought I was picturing them showering after the game or something, but that's another fantasy. Never mind.
Our brain just goes to different places.
Yes, it does. Yeah. So, all right. So let's see here. I think it's your turn to bring up someone to the table.
Yeah, so I think that Gary Harris is going to have a huge season. He should already be in your conversation for your top 8 shooting guard in the league. I think by the end of this year, we might be talking about him as potential top 5, definitely top 6, in that range. He's a good shooter. He's a good defender. He's a good cutter. Actually, he's probably a great cutter. I mean, if we're going to differentiate there, things are going to get easier for him with Paul Millsap and Nikola Jokic. Full season of Jokic as a starter. Paul Millsap out there slinging passes all over the place, drawing defense. I think Gary Harris is going to have a great year. It's also a contract year. He's going to be a restricted free agent next summer, although maybe he re-ups, ahead of the season. But, I think Gary Harris is going to have a great year. I could see somewhere in the 16 to 18 points a game for him just because of how easy they're going to get buckets. We know that offense is going to be good. They were the top offense in the league after Jokic became the starter, and they added Paul Millsap into their weak spot, which is the 4. And so, I think that, they're going to be pretty potent, and Gary Harris is going to benefit quite a bit from that.
I agree. And, a couple different things. First of all, it's another one of these Michigan State products. Tom Izzo can produce these guys, and they're tough, and they know how to play. And did he play? He played multiple years in Michigan State, right?
Didn't he play 4 years at Michigan State?
I got to look. I don't know. But, yeah, it's probably, let's see, they have a college here. 2 years. And so, but I got to tell you, he is just the poster child for, the Denver Nuggets are going to ruin a lot of other fans' seasons. I think that people have a certain idea of what's going to happen in the West, and I think that the Nuggets are going to destroy all these expectations. I'm not exactly sure how high they're going to get, but I feel like they're being slept on like that, like your arm, like when your arm gets so you can't even feel it, like a phantom. I'm telling you, that's how slept on they are. They're that left arm that you wake up in the middle of the night and don't know where it is. And Gary Harris is at the top of the list for that because you're right. With the way he's got that mind meld with Jokic, and now Millsap takes off some of that pressure. I'm really looking forward to it. And you know what? Maybe Gary Harris gets a Gary Harris mama meme as well on Twitter.
Let me give you some numbers. Now, he only played 57 games last year. He had some injuries, but he did play 76 the year before. So I don't know that this is a chronic thing. 14.9 points per game. 42% from 3 on 4.5 attempts per game. So the guy, he did it last year. Yeah, I think he's going to improve this year. And whether it's just maybe we see an uptick in his free throw rate, maybe we see, he only had 2.3 rebounds a game, only 2.9 assists, 1.2 steals though, so that's decent.
But I think the assists are not bad. 3 assists a game from that position is promising.
It's pretty good, but I think he's going to have more opportunities. Yeah. And so, going from 14.9 to 18 just doesn't seem like much, but it's a huge jump in the NBA. I mean, that's massive. That's like a 20% increase. So, I think he's going to be good, and I think by the end of the season, a lot of people are going to be riding the Gary Harris train.
Yeah, and then the Nuggets train will be attached to that as well. Get on board.
Not if they never defend, though. I mean, I still think like defense is important.
Defense, schmefense. Which, let's go to our next player I'm bringing to the table is Ben McLemore, a guy who I've been waiting to kind of break out. And then I kind of forgot as I was going through his stats, his career stats, he actually had a pretty decent year going back a couple of years. In the 2014-15 season, he averaged 12 points a game, played all 82, started all 82, and shot okay from three, and just sort of was out there. That was the key for him. I felt like he's been losing minutes. He's been going to his shell. I know that Boogie was really rough on him, and now that he's gone, and now both of them are different situations, I think that we have a chance to see Ben McLemore get some serious minutes in Memphis. There's not a lot of guards there for him to be behind. And so I would think that he could get that jump. He could get to 15 points a game.
I agree. Look, the last time he had a chance, which was the 2014-2015 season, he was playing 32 minutes a game, scored 12 points a game. He took 4.8 threes a game and shot about 36%. He's at 35% for his career. I think that he's going to have more space to operate in Memphis because they're launching more threes. I agree with you. I think that the minutes are going to be there just because they lack the wing depth, and he's going to get the opportunities because everyone has a green light. I'm right there with you. I love that pick.
And remember, if you're talking about DFS, the key here is those sleepers, those cheap players that you got to need. I need 4 threes out of him tonight, and maybe a couple assists and a steal. Like that's what you need from those kind of guys, and that's why when you point this stuff out, it's like, here's a guy who's is gonna be in that list. I think people are gonna be sleeping on him until the first month of the season when they realize it. So we'll have to see. I think he's a beautiful stroke. I really do think that if he can just get into a better situation in his head with the confidence and get consistent minutes, I really feel like he can get up to 40% threes. He was at 38 last year, and then that would be just a springboard for him.
Yeah, this is the point where we talk about that Memphis culture.
Yeah.
And I think Fizdale is actually a really good coach. And I really think that if anyone is going to maximize a player like McLemore, it's going to be Fizdale.
Absolutely. Analyze that. No, that's wrong.
Take that for data.
Take that for data. Right. Oh, well. See, that's how my mind works. All right. Our next player is your player. Who are you picking now?
All right.
As if we didn't speak about this beforehand.
Another one of my Spurs guys from last year, but new home for him in Atlanta, Dewayne Dedmon. I think he's going to be the starting center, and I think he's going to actually play. Last year, he did play 76 games, but he only started half of those, 37. He averaged 17 minutes a game last year, put up 5 points, almost a block, half a steal, 6.5 rebounds, which doesn't seem like much. But I think on a team as bad as Atlanta is going to be, he's going to be a good pick-and-roll partner for Schroeder, one of the few that he's got there. And I think he's going to get a lot of opportunities. I think he's probably going to play in that 25 to 28 minutes a night range. Going to a similar offensive system as what he played in last year. He's decent at facilitating from the elbows. You and I both really liked his athleticism on the offensive end, especially. And his ability on defense to jump out on pick and roll, which doesn't matter as much for fantasy, but for keeping him on the court, that's important. Like, he can actually defend. Mm-hmm. I would expect these block shots to go up quite a bit because I think he'll probably be going for them a little bit more. San Antonio doesn't really, their system on defense doesn't really allow that a whole lot, except for Pau Gasol because he's dropping back so much. But I think Dedmon has the ability to be – I think he has the ability to be a 2-block-a-game guy just because he's so athletic.
Yes, that's a very nice description of Pau Gasol's defense. I agree. That said, the systems are probably not that different at all with Budenholzer as they were in San Antonio. The only fear you have is if the off-court stuff, then we don't really know the details. We're like holding him back and explained a lot of why we were pulling our hair out all year long. Why is he not playing more? You have to wonder, okay, well, that means that Budenholzer is going to call Pop and say, hey, what's going on? And he might come in with a non-clean slate, if you will. But that said, Budenholzer might be the guy who'd be like, you know what, F it, we are gonna start clean, and I don't care what happened in San Antonio, and you're gonna get all those minutes we talked about until you don't. And maybe Dedmon's like, you know what, I'm not gonna F this up again after what I had in San Antonio, and he'll live up to his part of the bargain. So yes, I can see that. And again, his numbers, what? I mean, there's a ceiling to his numbers, but at the center position, 14 points is pretty damn good, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if he hits 14 points a game, that'd be huge. I would guess he's probably going to be 11 to 12.
Okay.
If I had to guess. But I could see the rebounds. I could see him averaging a double-double.
Yeah.
And maybe close to 2 blocks a game. I think that's within the realm of possibility. He's a good player. He's an athletic player. Now let's see if he can actually stay on the court for, whatever we don't know. And we've been speculating on this. I mean, this, as all the listeners know, Dewayne Dedmon came up a lot last year. And we were trying to figure out what the deal was, and we heard some stories this summer. So we don't know what the deal was. But the hope is that whatever it is, he's resolved it, and he can get out there and actually play.
Absolutely. Well, our last player, we have a bonus player here I'm going to throw in there at the end, is a guy who I'm not so sure he quite passes my over 21 facial look yet.
He's not over 21.
And he's not over 21, so there you go. He's only 19. And he went through a very trying year last year. And we might as well name him, Brandon Ingram of the Lakers. However, I do think that with a guy like Lonzo Ball out there, and just a new era, it feels like there's a new stuff happening, better teammates around. I just feel like he's got a chance to make a little bit of a jump as well. He certainly couldn't get worse than he did. He didn't play great. He didn't produce that well, and from shooting wise, particularly. So I feel like he's going to have a chance to get into that. I don't know. He might be able to score 18 points a game.
Yeah, you know what? I don't think that's crazy. He's definitely going to get more minutes. Hopefully he sees some time at the 4. Lonzo is, we assume is going to help open the floor up. Brook Lopez is also – I think Brook Lopez may even be more responsible for opening the floor up for this team. They're going to have a real stretch 5 who can actually shoot threes and who's a real offensive player. I mean, Brook Lopez is good. And that's another guy that maybe we should have talked about a little bit as a sleeper because I think people are kind of overlooking him. In general, but and he may be a forgotten man on the fantasy rosters. But yeah, Brandon Ingram, if he's gonna have a good second year, this is the almost ideal circumstance for him outside of playing next to LeBron James. It's pretty good for him. KCP should help. I mean, it's gonna be if he plays like he did last year, then you have to start thinking, oh, maybe this isn't the guy that we thought we drafted.
Right. And I have hope. There's something there, and it's hard to put my finger on exactly what it is, but there's a flash here and there. I think one of the issues I noticed, he would start out so slow in these games and just tentative and scared looking, and you're like, oh, this is not for him. And then all of a sudden, in the second quarter, he'd break out a move, and you're like, whoa, where did that come from? And I think that's what we've been waiting for him to learn, and that's the experience, right? He came in as a very young rookie. And then as you learn experience and learn how to prepare better, then you know how to be on right from the beginning of the game. And I believe, he should be starting at small forward, right?
Yeah, I can't imagine they're bringing him off the bench.
So, yeah, I mean, I certainly hope not. I hope that Dang doesn't start or anything like that. That would be a nightmare for me.
Yeah, I think that'd be a nightmare for everyone. I can imagine, L.A., just in general, it's one big nightmare.
Yeah, so we'll have to find out. But either way, keep your eye on Brandon Ingram, and then just to do a recap really quickly of the players that we are spotlighting, or we spotlight today. Rodney Hood, D'Angelo Russell, Davis Bertans, Gary Harris, Ben McLemore, Dewayne Dedmon, and Brandon Ingram. Those are our 7 fantasy sleepers. I think it's a really great list.
Yeah, I think so. But feel free to jump into our Twitter mentions and tell us how stupid we are.
I believe it's called Slide.
No, that's DM. I think you slide into DMs and you jump into mentions, right?
Oh, okay.
Right? Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
that.
Yeah, I'm not a millennial, so I don't know all the terms. But
you're not?
No, man. I'm 36. I think I just miss it.
Yeah, he's probably pretty close because everything else about you is millennial.
I don't know how that. I'm not sure how to take that. Yeah, but feel free to tell us how dumb we are. Although I think it's a pretty good list.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, this is a pretty good podcast. I think we got in and we got out, and it's very efficient. This is one of our more efficient podcasts. So great stuff. Anything else you need to report before you go on your long trip?
No. It's gonna be a pretty fun trip. I'll be posting updates occasionally. So anybody who's out west and north, I guess. So Utah, Idaho, Montana, Canada, like Calgary, Vancouver, Seattle, Oregon. You know, if I'm coming through your hood, give me a holler.
Well, and if you're part of the law enforcement in any of those communities, just know that this weird guy driving a van is harmless. And is,
full of dogs.
Full of dogs, yes. So you don't have to worry about that. So either way, Dave, great show. Thanks for coming on. And don't forget, sports fans, at B-Ball Breakdown, not a channel, we're a conversation. You win? Are you in, Dave?
Yes, I am.